Alright, so welcome everyone to week 11. Remember, all of the lectures that I make are recorded, and so you can always just
Who made that?
follow them step by step. I made this. No, I didn't. I definitely did not make this.
Is it something you can buy and then go to World?
It's a free demo. Yeah, there's always YouTube demos, but everything you need to do for my assignments are always in the lectures that I give. And always just feel free to screenshot what you're working on and send it to me. I'll take a look at it. Like when I looked at the blueprints earlier, it was like, the variables aren't being set right. You know, it's always something like that. And if you don't do it right, then nothing works, and it's very frustrating. So Unreal Engine is great when it works right. When it doesn't work right, you're just kind of like, what's happening? You know, what's happening? So yeah, when I was in grad school, my master's thesis that I wanted to do was actually on clouds, like doing realistic clouds and having light bounce inside of the clouds accurately and render them quickly and stuff like that. And I kind of had this dream or a vision of making a game in which it's just like it's very peaceful, you know. You just kind of like walk around and, you know, maybe there's game stuff to do, but it's not like
Smell that smelly bathroom.
Smell the smelly bathroom. You want me to go inside?
No. Yes.
That's locked. Sorry.
You're not allowed to go inside.
Not locked.
How dare they? You're supposed to go inside the restroom. That's the whole point of the thing.
Coronavirus, girl. You can't go inside. So yeah, like I wanted to make just like, I don't know, meadows, like forest meadows and like islands and stuff like that, and have game stuff to do, but like mostly just have it be a place where you just like enjoyed being there, you know. Whereas in most games, you're walking around and the environment is oftentimes very uninteresting, or it's just in the way, or you need to traverse it to get somewhere. Valheim actually does a pretty good job with that. Valheim has dynamically generated islands and mountains and stuff like that, and they're just beautiful. And even though you know they're random and there's no real intelligence or sense to them at all, it's still quite possible to appreciate a big valley and approach it from an engineering standpoint. How do I build a bridge across this and stuff like that?
Yeah, but we're lucky we got a good island.
We got a good island, yeah, it's true.
We're lucky.
Build up a harbor and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, the dream was like in the movie Explorers. I haven't seen Explorers. The meditation game, not meditation exactly. Like have game stuff to do, but really just
Where's all the people in this?
have the point of it being just that mood. You know, kind of like how the mood of Ghost of Tsushima, it's very beautiful, but the mood is always very somber. You know, and there's always like this feeling of the world is coming to an end because the Mongols have invaded Tsushima, and the way of life as you know it is ending, and your uncle is, you know, maybe
Dad,
not going to be too happy with you with what you're doing. And
I have a question.
you find dead horses and things like
I have a question. Why in the world do they have bottles out and no people out to occupy them?
that. Yeah, probably because doing people would be
Hard.
more time consuming, yeah. But they've got, you know, sodas for sale. You got their, look at that. Like, it's pretty detailed. It's honestly like quite a bit of detail on this thing. Let's zoom up. So we got lakes.
Go over there to the fountain. Wait, go under the water, actually. Go under the water.
They have a post-processing filter. You guys see that? So that's like a film grain effect, chromatic aberration. What else is going on there? Blue tinting. When we come up, it fades out. It's got fades.
I feel like the fading should be always.
It's like out of focus too, right here, to hide the fact that. Yeah, that. So Oblivion and Skyrim have this problem too, where if you set your camera right at the level of the water, you can actually see underneath it with perfect clarity.
And but it still counts as being underwater.
But you can find all the barnacles and stuff like that. Yeah. It's always a problem in video games. Right at the point of contact. So yeah, this is a...
go to the fountain. Go to the fountain.
Right.
The fountain looks...
weird.
Yeah.
That's an odd... that's an odd take right there.
Is that a person right there? Is that like the one and only person? Oh, wait. No, never mind.
Is there a car?
No. This is like a never-ending world.
You can see the banding. Do you guys see the bands on the fencing back there? That is an anti-aliasing effect. So when
right
you
there,
have
right there, banding right there, banding right there.
Yeah, and the stairs in the back there. And so what happens is when you're drawing a line, when you're rasterizing a line, sometimes the line will be on one pixel, sometimes it'll be on the other. And if you have a bunch of lines like on those stairs at a far distance, you'll end up getting what are called moire patterns. And see, as I move towards it, you can see the thing will flicker and flicker and flicker. And it looks pretty bad, right? And then even as I get closer this way, you can see that they're still kind of shimmering. Oops. Bail out of that. Hello. You see how they're still kind of shimmering as you walk towards it? It does not look good. And so there's things called temporal anti-aliasing where it will blend between one frame and the next. So the those shimmering effects, you see that on the second bench back there? You see how there's like flickering back there? If they had TSA turned on, it wouldn't be flickering like that. It would average out between the different frames. And then the moire patterns can usually be solved by having anti-aliasing turned on. There's actually a really big level, and so some people put a lot of time into making this demo here. Like if I go up, you can see that's our gargantuan park. It's absolutely mammoth in size. Turn off anti-aliasing? No, I mean you want it on to deal with all the flickering effects and stuff like that. Oh, you turn it off. Yeah. I mean, if you don't care, you don't care. It's a frame rate thing, I guess. Like those fences just don't look good. You see it? You see all that over there? Do you guys see the flickering on the moire patterns? So yeah, there's lakes, there's trees, there's sunlight. I did turn the sunlight down because it was kind of oppressively bright when you first launch it. It's like blinding. There's the hot dog stand down there. How many frames a second am I getting? It's like 11 or something like that. So that's not screen space reflections. You see that when I move the camera down? Those objects are hidden, but it's still reflecting them. So that's good. Screen space reflections. If I move the camera down like that, the reflections would vanish off the lake, and it's a really crappy looking effect. And you can see the water material they got here is pretty nice. They got a couple different. They got a panning normal map, and I think they got two. Like you can see one's moving this way, and then one's moving the opposite direction on it. It's kind of an interesting take on it. They got lots of trees of different kinds, benches. My guess is these sidewalks are made using splines. A spline is a curve. It's like you might have seen that with like the waterfalls and stuff like that, how you can drag and you have control surfaces where you can bend them and things like that. So they're probably using splines to do all the streets and sidewalks and stuff like that. But man, this is exactly the kind of thing that I wanted to do like when I was in grad school. Just having these really beautiful, peaceful, environments. The trouble is there's nothing to do in it, right? So after you've kind of walked around and looked at everything, it's like, quit, right? So Yeah. There's that. You want it to be a game that it's got stuff to do. Let's take a look at this. This is the landscape. Selecting landscape. There we go. Park Square. It's just landscape. Interesting. Playground. There's just a lot of detail in this. And so, why am I showing this to you? I don't know. Inspiration. Mainly because my topic for today is lighting. And I wanted to show you guys. Still haven't got my voice back from sea shanty night, which is kind of disturbing. It's been almost 2 weeks now. So you can see the shadows here. You can see there's a sun. The sun's got bloom on it. It's bigger and smaller. It's got some flickering, which doesn't look very good. But you can see how there's this kind of white haze in the air, which is kind of an interesting take. I actually had to turn it down. The sun was actually too strong. Directional light. Source directional light. So originally it was at 10 lux, and this is what it looked like naturally in the demo. You can see it's very bright sunlight, and that causes everything to kind of wash out, right? Maybe I caught a cold when I shantied. I don't know who I'd catch a cold from, dude. Not even around other people. So you just, I don't know, it just kind of feels overexposed that way. So with the sunlight off, now it's a lot gloomier. So we're going to talk the mathematics of lighting today. Put a little bit of sunlight in. There we go. But, yeah, this is the park demo, and it's honestly really impressive. Like, it's just a really well done. I mean, if you zoom all the way in on this, you can see all the detail on the rocks, and like, pretty good. Just like a free demo, you know. So you can see just how big this map is. It's gargantuan. Then will our next assignment be due next Thursday? No. You're gonna have all. There's going to be a quiz due on Thursday, and that'll just be on the math. We'll go over right now. The math isn't too bad. We need to actually get you all tested up on the different math concepts. So let's run through that again one more time, just as a review. So 3, 23, 21. So we're going to go into the math of lighting. So how does light work? You got a surface. Let's make it blue. So you got a surface. Every surface has a vector pointing out of it. It's at a 90-degree angle to the surface, to the plane. What is that vector called? You guys remember? Here's my hand. This vector is pointing out of it. What's that vector called? Yeah, so you're not normalizing anything. And normal is the name of the annoying cat in Garfield. So it is called a normal vector. Very good stuff. That is the normal vector. That is different vector. That is not the same thing as a normalized vector. Same word, different meaning. This means it is of unit length. And this one means it is at a 90-degree angle at a 90-degree angle to the surface. Okay. So the normal vector is used to determine how much light a surface gets. So if you have, what happens though when light hits a surface? Let's say you've got this blue square and you've got white light coming in. Wong, wong, wong. What does the surface do? What light gets reflected back off? Does it reflect green light? When you look at it with your eyes, do you see a blue surface looking green? Only, yeah, very good. Only blue light, and I'll use shiny blue this time, only blue light comes back off of it. So what happens with a blue surface is a blue surface eats all non-blue light. Okay, it absorbs the red and the green light. Right? And so let's say that you have a red surface over here, and all of this blue light is hitting it, and you want to know, all right, well, my eye is going to be looking, here's my eye is looking at the red surface here, and the only light hitting the red surface is the light bouncing off the blue surface. What color am I going to see? If a blue surface eats all non-blue light, what does a red surface do? What does a red surface do? Yeah, Hebron, very good. It eats all the non-red light. Is blue non-red? Hebron? Yeah. So it eats all of it. So you see black. You see nothing. Yeah. So if you have white light hitting a blue surface and the blue light is reflecting off of that onto a red surface, you're looking at the red surface, it will appear pitch black. Okay. So it eats all, this eats all non-red light. And that's blue, it's not red, it eats it all. Okay. So blue and red make black. So like if you had blue cellophane that only allows blue light through it, and you put a red cellophane over it, you don't get purple. That's what everyone thinks, you're going to get purple. No, you get black. If you have a perfect cellophane surface that only allows blue through, and you put a cellophane surface over it that only allows red through, no light comes through. No light comes through. So blue and red make purple, not with surfaces. There's actually two different kinds of colors. There are what are called additive colors. Additive colors. And there are subtractive colors. And we can call these lights. And we can call these surfaces, or paint. Let's call it paint, why not? Okay, so in order to produce a color that the human sees, you need to have, you can use any combination of additive and subtractive surfaces you like. There's got to be some additive or it's going to be pitch black, right? Additive. Yeah. Okay. So how does the math work? Well, additive colors add together. Subtractive colors subtract light. Hence the names. Right? So if you have a red light, the red sun, the red dwarf. You have a red sun in the sky. You got a blue sun in the sky. It's a binary system. No, it's a trinary system. You got a red, a green, and a blue sun in the sky. Remember, all colors are represented using RGB trios, and they range from 0 to 1. So 0 to 1, 0 to 1, 0 to 1. Okay. 0, 0, 0. That's red. It's green. It's blue. 0, 0, 0 is black. 1, 1, 1 is white. Now there's other systems. 0.5, 0.5, 0.5 is great. There's other systems. With web development, it ranges from 0 to 255. That's very common also. All you have to do to convert between the two is either divide by 255 or multiply by 255 to go back and forth. It doesn't really matter. The math is easier when you do it this way. So this would be, let's see, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. This would be gray. This would be 50% gray. So if you have a red sun, a green sun, and a blue sun, you're going to get 100% exposure of red, 100% exposure of green, 100% exposure of blue. What is the sunlight going to look like around you? What do you guys think? Assuming that the surfaces are exposed to all three of the suns in the sky equally. It's going to look white. Because lights add together. So if you're getting 100% red, 100% green, 100% blue, they add together, and assuming they're all pretty much in the same spot in the sky, it'll look white. Okay? If they're at different angles, then what's going to happen is shadows are going to have colors in them. Right? Imagine if you had a tree. This area down here is no blue, and the area over here is not going to have any green in it, and the area over here is not going to have any red in it. And so you can imagine there being shadows of different combinations of the different colors and stuff like that. But if they're all in the same point, then it's basically a white sun. Our sun's not white, by the way. Sun's not actually white. But if you expose enough red and green and blue coming out of it, then I guess it's white. All right, so let's see if you guys can do a couple of these. What color is this? Collins? What do you think? Edwardson, you here? What color do you think that is? 101. It is not yellow. Yellow would be 110. Red, RGB, right? So yellow is that. Old yellow. Okay. So if you have 110, it's yellow. If you have 101, it is purple. They add together. Now, what happens if you shine purple light on a blue surface? So you got, do I have a purple ink? Purple colors. Purple. Okay. So let's say you've got this, what happened here? What's wrong with you? All right. More colors. Purple. Oh, I have to pick from up here. Okay. Purple saturation, 50%. That's fine. Can I pick it? Can I pick it? There we go. All right. So I got purple light coming in. And it is hitting a blue surface. Let's see. Cha, what color light comes off? This would be easy to demonstrate with a projector. Yeah, it would be. What color light comes off? Cha. If you have purple light shining on a blue surface and you're looking at it over here, your eye is over here, looking at it, what color do you see? Cha, are you here? All right, Lave, what do you see? You see red? You got red coming in, you got blue coming in. What does a blue surface do? Surfaces, paints are subtractive. So it eats all non-blue. Yes, and so you see blue light coming off. So all the red coming in gets absorbed. So that's a subtractive color. So lights add together. If you have red and green and blue, you get white. If you have red and blue, you get purple. They add together. When they reflect off of the surface, though, they can only get dimmer. So paints are always like a less than or equal to kind of thing, right? They can only have reduced brightness because they're not emissive, right? Unless you have a glow-in-the-dark paint, which would be called an emissive surface in gaming. Emissive surface. Then it glows, but assuming it's just regular paint, not glow-in-the-dark paint, it can only eat colors. Okay, so let's do another one of these. Got purple light coming in. This time it is on a green surface. Dolan, what color light comes off? Green eats blue and red, correct. Correct. The answer is no color. Black, exactly. And if you have a perfect paint, then literally no light would come off. And you would see a void, like the darkness in my soul, right? Like Vanta Black, which I think... Have I shown you guys Vanta Black before? Vanta Black. Right. The... They coated the bean in downtown Chicago with Vanta Black, and it just looks like a hole in reality, you know. So it's normally this big reflective surface. You coat it in Vanta Black, and it is just a hole in reality. Okay. Okay. So yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, it looks like a glitch. Okay. So what happens? What happens to a white surface, a perfect white surface? What colors does a white surface eat? It reflects all colors, right? It's a mirror, right? Essentially. Why do we not see white walls like mirrors then? Yeah, it reflects everything. All the photons coming in come back out. If it's perfect white, you will purple light in, purple light out. Why do we not see it as a mirror? It's not shiny enough? Yeah, exactly. So what happens, Dolan, very good, is if you zoom in really close on the surface of paint, you'll see there are these little balls of paint, right? And so the light coming in is actually going to reflect off in different directions. It scatters the light. And so what makes a mirror is that it's smooth. And so all the light coming in bounces off at exactly the same angle. So your white walls are actually mirrors that just scatter the light in different directions. They're rough. And so in Unreal Engine, this is called the roughness parameter. And so if you had a white wall and you turn the roughness down to 0, it turns into a mirror because it's perfectly reflective. Everything comes off at the same angle it comes in. When it's rough, though, they bounce off at different angles, and it breaks up the image. Okay. Yeah, so all of your walls are actually mirrors. Just not very good ones. Let me check my hair. It's handsome. All right, so, yeah, so that's just the roughness parameter. So if you turn it down, in paint they actually have that. They have glossy, right? They have glossy, semi-gloss, matte, and that refers to the roughness of the paint. And so if you have a glossy, if you have like a satin finish, satin paint, satin ultra gloss. Let's see. Not very useful. Also not very useful. Yeah, you see how there's different shininess levels. Let's see. Ultra gloss. I'm not interested in buying product. I want to just see what it looks like. No, that's not useful. Yeah, okay. I guess that's good enough. So you can see how it gets very shiny, right? And if you have like a ultra gloss on a car, yeah, then it actually starts working like a mirror, right? See that? So if you get a really nice coat of paint on your car and you polish it and wax it, get a clear coat on it, then you can actually get reflections coming off of it. And you can have that on the walls of your house if you wanted. Nothing's stopping you. It's a free country. Yeah. So when we repainted our house a couple years ago, one of the questions we had to ask ourselves is how shiny a house do we want? And that's a weird question. You know, it's a question that had never occurred to me before. Like, I don't know. How shiny should it be? You know, like, it's a weird question, you know? Like, Fresno, it gets really hot in the summertime, so maybe we want it more shiny so that it reflects more light. But then, are we going to be blinding people across the street if we get, like, an ultra gloss? Like, it's like this, like a car, you know? Like, I don't know. It's just a weird question. Okay. So let's get into the math of it. So the way that the math works is that you add up all the lights. So step one, skyscrapers are shining. True. Yeah. In fact, was it the Vidara in Vegas? Did you guys hear about that? Have you ever been to like the Cosmopolitan, the City Center in Vegas? Are any of you guys Vegas people? Maybe you're too young. I don't know. So, in the before times, we go to Vegas, probably once a year or something like that. And the problem with the Vidara is that you can see it's a concave shape like that. And so it worked, and it's shiny. And so what happens is it worked as a reflecting mirror. And so the sun would reflect light off all these different mirrors down into the pool. And it would actually burn people's skin. And like if you left your can of Coke out, like a bottle of Coke, it would melt. Like it would like the lights reflecting off the Vidara, because this is Vegas, summertime. It's already 130 degrees or whatever, you know. And then it goes, you know, like, and it was melting bottles of Coke and stuff like that. It's called the Vidara Death Ray. Yeah. And the area that it was burning would move, you know. See it melting the plastic bags and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's you know, an real life application of this.
The answer is probably yes, but is 24 a factor of 24?
24 is a factor of 24, yes. But usually when you factorize a number, 1 and 24 are not used. But sometimes they are technically. Yeah.
Because the computer said find another factor of 20. Find another factor group of 24. I'm like 1 and 24.
1 and 24 is a factor
like
group.
Incorrect.
Yeah, it's too easy. It's too easy. Was it Archimedes or something like that? He defended his town by making a death ray or something like that. Okay. So, in MythBusters, I think tried it out. I don't know. I don't think their methods were good on that episode though. So, what is the math? What is the math? Okay. So, first of all, step one: add up all the lights incident on the surface. And this can be time consuming. If you've got 100 lights in your level, you need to go through all 100 lights, trace a line to see if there's a clear line of sight between you and me. If it's the sun doesn't diminish in intensity depending on how far away you are from it, at least on Earth, right? When you have a directional light, which is what we're talking about here, with suns, the further away, if you're on Mount Everest or Death Valley, it doesn't matter. Technically, like, the angle of the Earth matters more than how far you are away from the sun. It doesn't vary very much. But if you have like your regular light bulb, then the further away you get, the light has fall off. And so directional lights have no fall off. Ambient lights just light everything. What is an ambient light? What is an ambient light? What does that mean? Ambient light. If you had an ambient light to a video game, what are you doing? Is there such a thing as an ambient light in real life? Anybody doing this? So you're just adding lighting to every point in the world. And so oftentimes video games will do this because having a black screen drawn is not very interesting, right? Like, you're playing Overwatch and you enter a room and you close the door and there's no lights in there. It's pitch black. You literally can't see anything. Even when you move the mouse, because there's no context, you can't even see how far you're turning. So, like, how do I turn around to get back out of the door, right, without the visual clues? Super annoying. And so video games a lot of times will add what are called ambient lights, which just add light to every pixel on the screen. So it might just be like just lights every point. So for example, it might just be like 0.1, 0.1, 0.1. And if you have that, then there will at least be 10% lighting on every point in the world. So at least, even if it should be pitch black, you can still kind of see in the rooms a little bit. And that actually, in real life, is there a real life equivalent to that it's trying to model? Is there such a thing as a ambient light in real life? Light that has no source or no direct source? What do you guys think? I always thought that ambient light was natural light. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the sun is the natural source of all light. Here's the problem: if you are indoors, the sun can't see me, right? There's a roof above my head. The roof is opaque. The roof allows no sunlight through. So if you were doing a physically accurate video game, what you do is you have, I don't know, my air conditioning remote control here. And if you want to see how much light is incident on the surface, you first of all take the lights from I got a light above me here, and I got the two monitors. You can see it's picking up the light from the monitor. You see it's picking up the light from the light bulb. But it can't see the sun. There is no line of sight between this surface and the sun. However, take a look at the open door behind me. That's sunlight. Right? That's sunlight behind me. And that is not exposed to the sun in any way. That's at least 2 bounces away from the sun. Right? So there's a window, and then the window has to reflect off another surface, then it's reflecting off that surface, then it's coming over here. So what you guys are seeing, like right there, that sunspot, that's actually sunlight. And it's probably bounced about 3 times to get there. And it's still bright enough that you can see, you know, all this stuff back there without it having any artificial lights at all. So that would be ambient lighting, right? So ambient lighting represents the fact, because you could do that with ray tracing, right? You could do ray tracing and have the sun shoot out millions of photons and have them scatter around the world randomly and create a global illumination field. And some video games do that. But oftentimes it's cheaper to just be like, you know what? We're indoors on a sunny day. There's going to be some light. You know, some's going to come in through the cracks in the windows and you know, through the living room, and there's a skylight and all this stuff. And there's just going to be some light. You know what I mean? And so ambient light reflects that sort of diffused sort of sunlight has kind of bounced around for a while kind of thing. And you would not do that if you were on, like, the moon, right? If you're on the moon, there's no atmosphere. And so, you know, like, light doesn't, like, it's very harsh. If you ever see shots of what the moon looks like, it's because there's none of that ambient lighting. 50 photos taken on the moon. Right? See, it's very garish, right? There's just white, black, earth, white. You know? Like, this is picking up some bounce lighting from the surface of the moon, probably. And you can see, you know, there's reflections off the guy's face here. But there's no atmosphere, right? So everything is just very stark and alien looking. Right? It's a different. So if you're in outer space, you have to be careful with kind of this stuff, right? You see, the shadows are just black, right? There's no ambient, because this shadow here would be picking up light from the atmosphere, right? Because the sunlight comes in and it diffuses around, and then it bounces back, and it bounces this way, and it bounces that way. If you look at the shadows of these of the moonlander and the astronauts, they're just black, and that's a weird. You know, it's a weird thing when you're used to being on the surface of the Earth, you know. And so, if you're doing stuff in outer space, you have to be careful with this to get the right look. But on Earth, yeah, ambient lighting. If you're indoors on a sunny day, even at night, have you guys ever like when I was in my college dorms, sometimes I'd have all the lights off, and you could still. The blinds are closed, and I could still see my hand moving in front of my face, right? Have you guys ever seen that? Like, even at nighttime, with all the blinds closed, the lights off, your computer shut down. Have you guys ever seen that before? Like, you can still kind of see enough that you can at least, you know, if you move your hand, you can kind of see that. Hayburn has kind of. Yeah, like if you live in an apartment complex, there's going to be street lights outside. You know, and the street lights are going to send enough light in through your vertical blinds or curtains or whatever that there's going to be a little bit of light coming in. And that's going to diffuse around the room a little bit, and you can still barely kind of see stuff. You know, if you ever go camping, it's a different story. But even camping, there's the moon, stars, you know, stuff like that. If it's a new moon and you're outdoors and it's cloudy so you can't see the stars, yeah, it can be pretty dark. But during a full moon, like a full moon's pretty bright. Have you ever been out camping during a full moon? Like, it's bright enough to walk around and not worry about tripping over stuff, you know? So we're actually, as humans, we're not used to being in pitch darkness. Have you guys ever been to Boyden Caverns in Kings Canyon? It's worth a visit. I've been there twice. I went there in college, and then I went there again with my daughter about a year ago. 2 years at this point, before the pandemic. So, a prospector found this cave on the side of a cliff and made it his home. COVID guidelines, all right. So I guess it's open. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a neat visit. How much is it these days? Walking tour, private extended walking tour. That's cool. How much is a private extended walking tour? No dates. No dates. Aha. $40, not bad, for a private extended walking tour. So the reason why I mention this is because when you go to Boyden Cavern, there's a point, spoiler alert, where they turn off all the lights. You're deep within the cave. You've been walking past stalactites and stalagmites and all these cool sculptures formed by millions of years of dripping water with minerals in them and stuff like that. And then they turn off all the lights. And then your wallet disappears, right? And so the first time I did it when I was in college, they turned off all the lights, and it blew me away. Because, like, I'm doing this, right? You're used to seeing at least some motion, even at nighttime. And I'm just like, I can't see anything. It is actually black. And it is a weird feeling because you don't normally experience that. So why does this matter? When you're making a video game, don't allow there to be pitch black, right? It's a weird, disorienting feeling to actually have black. So in my opinion, if you're on Earth, add some ambient lighting, just because there's always photons bouncing around, giving at least a little bit of illumination to a world. It's actually unusual for you to be in what they called natural cave lighting. Have you guys ever seen natural cave lighting before? No. Click. Now you have. What if it was a scary game? Yeah. Yeah, Doom 3 did that a lot. They would shut off all the lights and monsters would jump at you. And the thing is, like, 000 black gives no information to the player. And so you can't, like, you're in a game, and so when you move the mouse, you need to know how far the camera is rotating so you can make decisions. In real life, even if my eyes are closed, I can tell I'm rotating, right? Because I've got an inner ear, and the inner ear tracks that. You've got proprioception in all of your joints. Your joints are constantly reporting back to your body. Is my hand closed? Is my hand open? Humans have more than 5 senses, right? So we do have 5 senses, but we have more than 5 senses also. And so it's really disorienting to be in pitch black, like in the Boyden Caverns. And so even if you're doing a horror game, I would say add at least enough light that the player can still navigate. When they move their mouse, they can see how far they're turning, because it is a game. You lack the inner ear, and you lack proprioception. And so that would be a place where the game is getting in the way of the enjoyment of the game. And Doom 3 did it really badly because you had to pull out your flashlight, and the flashlight had a very narrow cone, and it didn't do any bounce illumination. So it was like this wedge of light, the very sharp, very delineated wedge of light, which is unrealistic. It should hit surfaces and bounce off and have some ambient lighting around it. But instead it was like that shot on the moon. That's lit. And so you had to sit there and move your flashlight around trying to find where the damn monster is, which was part of the point, I guess. But you couldn't shoot and have your flashlight out at the same time. So you'd put your flashlight down, pull out your gun, start shooting, and hope that you're shooting in the right direction because the monster could have moved. And so the flashes of your gunfire would illuminate the monster coming at you. And so sometimes you'd fire bullets just to see where the damn thing is. Like, it was just not a very well-made game, in my opinion. The most popular mod for Doom 3 was a flashlight attachment to your gun. Like, the Doom Marine has discovered duct tape. Duct tape the thing on. So, now in some games you have to adjust your brightness to match an icon. Yeah. And that's to calibrate properly. But really my point here is that you don't want to have black if you can avoid it. It's not very interesting. Okay, and the second time I went to Boyden Cavern, they're like, have you ever seen natural cave lighting, click. Everyone takes out their cell phones and turns the flashlights on. Some people started taking pictures. I was like, freaking kidding me, dude? What are you taking a picture of? The blackness? Like, what the hell, dude? Flashes going off. The hell? I want to have a memory of saying black. I'm going to get out my cell phone and photograph black. Yeah, like 5 people. Like, huh? Shining around. I prepped my daughter for it. I'm like, don't be scared when it gets all black. And she was like, Daddy, why do those people have their cell phones out? I'm like, good girl. She said it real loud. Okay, so how do we do the math? We add together all the lights. So if you got if you've got, let's say, a white light and it's a point light, then it diminishes in strength, right? A light bulb, if I'm a half mile away from a light bulb, it's not going to contribute very much light. You know what I mean? So let's say that here, the white light might be 1, 1, 1. Here, it might be 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. And then out at the end, it might be 0, 0, 0. And those distances are, you know, controlled by variables, right? And there's different ways of computing it. It's the inverse square law, you know, 1 over distance squared. And some have linear fall off. If you're like in a cylinder, you get linear fall off instead of, you know, don't worry too much about that. The point is, like, there's going to be some amount of contribution from every light near you. Okay, the sun, ambient lighting, point light, rectangular lights are the planar lights. The monitors are casting planar light at me. It doesn't really matter. The point is you add them all together. Okay, cap it at 1, saturate at 1. And you'll end up with some color. Like, let's say the color of light hitting my face right now kind of looks bluish. Okay, so let's say it's like 0.6, 0.7, 0.9. So let's say after adding together all of the different, that's step 1. Okay, step 1, add together all of the lights, and you end up with some amount of light incident on a surface. Step 2, multiply. Multiply by the color of the surface, each channel separately. Okay. So let's say the color of my skin. Oh, that's a politically controversial question, huh? Don't cancel me, please. All right. Let's see. Paint. Where are you? New. Paste. Zoom in. And we will use the eyedrop tool. Eyedrop. There. Okay, there's my skin color. All right, it's 112, 81, 73. So dividing by 255. So what was it? 112, 81, 73. All right. 112 divided by 255 is 0.43. 81 divided by 255 is 0.2. And 73 divided by 255 is 0.27. All right, there you go. There's my skin color. All right. So if we want to find out what color bounces off my skin, then you take the color of the incident light and multiply each of the channels separately. So 0.6 times 0.43, 0.7 times 0.32, 0.9 times 0.27. You guys understand? So 0.6, and I'm just going to copy it down here, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, what was that? Is that what it was? 0.9. Sorry. 0.9. Okay, so what you do is you just multiply each of the channels. And that's how much light reflects off. You guys understand? So if this was 0 and 0 and 1, then it would reflect all the blue light and eat all the red and green light, right? But this is the more advanced understanding of it. So you just multiply each of the channels separately. So this is going to be 0.24, 0.21, 0.18. Ish. I'm not doing one significant digit. Okay? Do you guys understand? So the light reflecting off my face, even though it was mostly bluish, because my skin has more pink in it, because I'm Irish, apparently, is more reddish. Do you guys see that? So even though there was less red to begin with, because my skin has a lot of pink in it, then there is, you multiply all the channels together separately, that's the answer. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Irish among many other things. My grandfather is a genealogist, and I'm 3/8 Irish, and a mix of a lot of other things for the other stuff as well. So, well, my last name's Kearney, so yeah, it's easier. All right, so let's do another example. Let's do yellow light, 110. Yellow light reflecting off of a 50% purple surface. If you have yellow light reflecting off a 50%, this is 50% purple. That's yellow. If you have a purple surface, 50%, it's dark purple. You shine yellow light at it, what light do you see? That's how we should start referring to skin colors from now on, just the 3 numbers. Yeah, you know, it's not a bad idea. Because the notion of there being 5 colors of humanity is itself a racist one, right? It was developed by racists in the 1800s to justify white people being superior, you know, and that's why there's white, yellow, red, brown, and black. Those were the 5 colors. It's a racist concept, and yet we still use that ontology, that categorization of people, even though it's kind of nonsense, and even though the who's white and brown has changed over the years, it's kind of a silly system that we still use because we use it. We still use it, but I don't know. It's frustrating. 50% red. Okay, so Vacular. Okay, 1 times 0.5. Okay. So we'll end up with 0.5 red, 0 for the green, 0 for the blue. Yes, so we're going to get 50% red as the answer. Okay. So let's do another one. 0.8, 0.4, 0.1. This is brown, by the way. Brown's not a real color, by the way. Brown's not a real color. Brown doesn't exist. Well, what's your ethnicity? I'm 0.4, 0.7, 0.9. Very blue. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'd prefer that system to the current one. All right, so brown is 0.8, 0.4, 0.1. And then let's go with, let's do a color picker. I mean, ethnicity and race are also, Ethnicity refers to the country of origin of your family, at least in America. But race refers to one of the 5 colors of humanity, which is just such a silly concept, honestly. All right. Blue. I'm an Asari. Color picker. All right, let's pick orange. There we go. All right. So orange. So we got brown light shining at an orange surface. 211 divided by 2.5 is 0.8. Actually, orange is pretty close to brown. 0.8. 93 divided by 255. 0.4. Oh no. Oh no. 0. Okay. All right, it's pretty damn close to brown. 80, 40, 0. Yeah, it's brown. Okay. So it's just, yeah, brown and orange are pretty close. So what do we got? If we shine brown light on orange light, is actually probably closer to orange than brown anyway. But what's your phenotype? Do you have dominant or submissive genes? Lord. Yeah, it's, yeah. What kind of color are we going to see? It's amazing. Yeah, what's really funny about the Asari is that they appear different to every species that sees them. They have a projection field that makes them look like an alien member, but of the same species. So my wife always said that Asari actually look like broccoli in real life, and they just appear to be human-ish. Yeah, so the answer will be 0.6 or 0.64, whatever. 0.1, 0.16, and 0. Or 0.2 if you want to round that way. Yeah, so what would that look like? That would look like... like a burgundy. Let's see, it's not quite right actually. 0.64 times 255 is 163. 0.16 times 255 is 40. And 0. Okay, so that's the color you'll get. Kind of a brownish orange. Okay. So before we had a bright orange. Now it's been darkened into, yeah, kind of a dark orange. Plant people. Yeah. So, yeah. You guys want to do one more before you take a quiz on it? One more. All right. So, try complementary colors. All right. Let's pick a. Give me some numbers. Give me some numbers. Toss out a number from 0 to 255. $42, excellent choice. 11. All right, one more. 66. All right. There we go. So it's this really kind of a nauseous green color. It's not the worst. Kind of like an almost an, that's more of an olive. Got like a little bit of an olive green color to it. Don't like it very much. Jungle color. Yeah. Enter a color. Color snap visualizer. All right, here we go. that's our color. All right, upload your photo. All right, that's fine. Okay, add a color. Here we go. Here we go. Search color. Olive. It's kind of in between these two, huh? So let's paint the house in relentless olive. Can I do the roof? Can't do the roof. Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's a really Oliver Stone. That's a great name. Nighttime. At night, yeah, it doesn't save it. It's still pretty bad. Okay. All right, so that's our color. So I like the name though, Oliver Stone. All right. So the light is Oliver Stone. No, wait, that's our paint. Our paints, it doesn't really matter which one's which. So our paint is going to be Oliver Stone, which was 32 divided by 255 is 0.16. 0.16 and 66 divided by 255 is 0.25. And what was the other one? 11? Yeah, 11 255 is 0.04. 0.04. What color light do you guys want shining on Oliver Stone? How do those color pickers work? You enter for the paint company or the one I was looking at before. You basically just enter how much red, how much blue, how much green. There's different ways of specifying it though. Like I'm using 0 to 1 here. But you can also do hue, saturation, brightness, hue of 0, saturation of 200. Yeah. There's different ways of doing these things, right? And they CMYK. There's different ways of expressing the same colors. So, what color light? Rose color. All right. Well, okay, sure. We can use rose. That works. So that'll be 50 divided by 255 is 0.2. So we're going to shine rose-colored glasses. In fact, let's do that. It's rose glasses. We're looking at Oliver Stone, which is the same thing as... yeah, sure. Why not? We're looking at Oliver Stone through rose-colored glasses, which are 0.2... what was it? Color picker. No, it's 127. So it's... 0.5 and 63 divided by 0.25. Okay. All right, so what color do we see if we look at this puke green color through rose-colored glasses? There's probably some metaphor for modern life there that somebody could make. What do we got? Take each of the channels, multiply them separately. What do you got? So it's 0.16 times 0.5. So the first channel is not going to be 0. When we picked, picking the color for our house too was the hardest part of it, besides how shiny we wanted it to be. It's like, you're going to be staring at a color for the next, I don't know, 20 years, I don't know, ideally, hopefully, right? So what color you like? You know what I mean? Like, house was kind of a salmon color before, which I really didn't like. My daughter liked it. She liked it. It looks pink, Daddy. I'm like, it's not pink. It's salmon color. So that is what you're going to see. So if you look at puke green through rose-colored glasses, you get kind of a warm red, brown, very dark. Very dark. Okay. Half the red light comes through, a quarter of the other two channels. The other two channels weren't too bright to begin with. So it's going to be like a really dark reddish brown. Okay. It is nicer, but it's pretty dark. Yeah, it's going to be 0.08, 0.125, and 0.01. Okay. All right. Okay, so that is how light works until we get into angle of incidence. So let's say that we have a surface, and that's the normal, and the light, this is a light bulb, and the light is shining directly on it. Like, let's say the video camera here is the source of the light, and my hand is facing directly at it. That hand is going to pick up 100% of the light. Now, what if I turn my hand 90 degrees? How much of the light from the video camera is getting picked up by the front of my hand? Picking up all of it? How much is getting picked up by it now? Let's say it's like a sheet of paper. Right? Sheet of paper turned sideways. Picks up none of it. Picks up none of it. If you take a light bulb, it'll catch all the light if it's facing it. But if you turn the surface completely sideways to it, all the light just passes right by. You know what I mean? And if it's backwards, then none of it's hitting. So there is an equation for it, and the equation is the dot product. Ooh, dot product. Dot product. So unless it's reflected back. So you dot product. In this case, you take the dot product of the direction from the surface to the light, and you dot product it with the normal vector. So it's going to be the dot product of the normal vector, and the vector pointing at the light. Okay. And there's a lot of different ways of computing the dot product. One way is x1, y1, is it x1, y2 plus, no, it's x2 plus y1, y2 is the dot product. Yeah. And that'll return a number from -1 to 1. You guys remember that? There's actually an easier way for doing light, and it's just the cosine of theta. So whatever the angle is between the two vectors is how much light you get. So if we have let's say pure white light coming in, and we have our surface at a 45-degree angle, cosine of 45 degrees is equal to (45°) cosine is 0.707, of course. We all knew that. 0.71. Then you just multiply the vector by the dot product. And so rather than getting full pure white light, we get 0.71, 0.71, 0.71. In other words, we have 71% gray. Okay. And as you turn the light, you turn the sheet more and more away from the light, every day we stray further from the light, the amount of light it picks up is less and less and less. So at 90 degrees, when it's perfectly perpendicular to it, the cosine of 90 degrees is 0, and you get black. You get nothing, sir. Good day. Okay. So that is the equation for lighting one triangle in the world. Go through every light. Step 1, go through every light. See how much that light contributes. Step 2, multiply the color of the light times the paint color. Step 3, actually probably step 1. This would be part of step 1 technically. But if you only have one light, you multiply the light by the angle that it hits. That's actually technically part of step 1. Okay. Not really step 3. When you're figuring out how much each light contributes to the surface, you multiply by the cosine of the angle. Okay. So if you're outdoors in a sunny day and the light's shining on your hand and the surface of your hand's pointing at the sun, it's picking up 100% of the light. As you tilt your hand away from the sun, it gets less and less light. You see that? I've got a light up here. It's picking up the light because it's pointed at it. As I tilt it away, it gets less. Okay. When is the test due? The test will be due on Thursday. And so we'll do this, and I'll probably put in a couple review questions just so you guys can remember how to do the other options. Scalar times vector. It's this one. Now how to do scalar times vector. Now how to do vector dot product. It's the inner product. Vector x vector. The dot product. It's the cross product. It's also called the outer product. Scalar times vector, vector times vector, vector times vector. Scalar times matrix. Multiply all the elements in the matrix by the scalar. It's pretty easy. Vector times matrix. That's the hard one. This is the one to study. This one is easy. This one is easy. Know what these do. Know what the dot product and cross product do. Vector times matrix is the one to study, and that's the one where you take the vector, turn it sideways, multiply down, add a cross, you get another vector. And then matrix times matrix. Matrix times matrix is this. Repeat it. Where you do it on each column. Are you posting your board this time? You mean the notes here? Sure. I know. Distribute page. Group distribution. Unsupported. Great. Cool. Add or remove students. Manage classes. Is there a save option here? Can you just save a JPEG for me or something?
Are you out of school?
We're basically done. I just want to share this with them. Share. There we go. Hidden by the video camera. Share. Send a copy of the page. We need some more information. No, you don't. You really don't. Any with the link. No password. Apply. To copy link. There we go. All right. Try this. Nope, that's the that's the color. All right. Try that. See if that works for you guys.
Wait, no, to a 2A42B is
2A420B, which is a fantastic hexadecimal code. 2A420B. Did you do okay on your assignment with the HUD? That one I think was pretty awesome, right? Wasn't it? If I'm remembering it right. Yeah, spans. Yours was amazing. Sure. Yeah, you did the more advanced version of a HUD. So that's widgets and things like that, where you can add a widget to the screen and display and hide widgets and things like that. Like I said, I didn't go into that during our talk. We did the most basic way of doing HUDs, which is drawing a picture, a line, or a rectangle on the screen. The widgets is the right way to do it. It takes doing the UMG stuff. Sorry, is more involved. My teaching philosophy is to always start simple and getting something working, right? And once you get it to work, then add complexity and professionalism, as you can tell from our landscape that started off as green taffy. Used a widget, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks nice. So does the notes work? Does that come up? Super fast, look at that. Midterm Thursday, oh, okay. So you can view all of my notebooks. All right, well, that's fine. I got no secrets. Yeah, here's the earlier lighting. Thanks for using Office. We made some privacy settings to give you more control. Yeah, go away. Okay. So here is today's notes. There you go. I don't know what happened in night mode.
Dad?
The hell, dude?
Someone's...
Why is it in day mode? This is
Dad,
not right.
look at
Yeah.
back at...
Mine froze up. I'll get there. Yeah, where is night mode? Give feedback. I don't like something. Default to night mode, please. There you go. Yeah, it took a while to load for me too, and it's my own notebook, so just bear with it. I think it's loading all of the notes that I've made ever, and so there's probably a lot of stuff in there. But just click on IS50A, and you can see all the different notes ever. So pretty cool stuff. All right, well, that's it for today, guys. We just did math today, but this math will impact anything you do in video games because everything has lighting in it. Hopefully you don't do an all black game that's just a black rectangle. Kind of a boring game. I don't know what you could do with it. But that's it. So I'll put up a quiz on lighting, and I will give you guys practice quiz, maybe? Do you guys want a practice quiz on all the other stuff just to review things? That help? Yeah, sure. You know what? I'll actually put up all of last semester's math quizzes and just set them to be worth no points, and then you can just take them, and then the lighting stuff you should be able to do. So there will be a lighting quiz, and then I'll put up some practice quizzes for you. And then on Thursday before we go to spring break, that's when your midterm is going to be, and it'll just be on the math stuff because math is a quarter of your grade. So make sure you do the practice quizzes and get comfortable with them, and then there'll be a small midterm that you'll take over spring break, and also you'll start probably working on your Unreal projects over spring break too, or not, or just party. I don't know. Spring break. It's not a big deal. All right, so that's it for today, guys. Any questions? Math stuff. Once you understand it, it's not too hard. The hardest part is just kind of getting over the hump of just understanding what it's about. terminology. Neat. I created a ray tracing stylized hatching shader. Neat. That's really cool. All right. Well, that's it for today, guys. Have fun. Do math. Be strong. Gambate. Good luck.